From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
And we are back with the NFL Bet Exchange. I'm your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper. And I have with me from the beautiful Northeast, the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson. How you doing, brother?
Another week 9, right? Week 9. Tough week last week. First losing week. We're still about 15, 16 games over 500. Excited for this week. A lot of injuries, COVID, buys, a lot to factor in. Tough card. I'll be honest with you, a real tough card. A lot of big numbers, what to do, what not to do. But we're excited and hoping to get back onto the winning side, Pops.
All right. And, me and Jeff both went 5-9 last week. So I'll go ahead and show y'all. As you know, I didn't upload it yet, but still, because I literally forgot about it, Jeff. But I still put it up, and pretty much I went 5-9. Jeff went 5-9 as well too, and it was crazy because a lot of the games I lost, Jeff might have won, and a lot of the games I won, Jeff might have lost, and then there were games that when we came together, we won together. And we lost together as well too, so we were kind of on the same page a little bit. But 5-9, at this point in the season, second half, final week of October, it kind of happens. You know what I mean? Because people have to understand. Usually, it's the end of the month that kicks your butt in the NFL, because you have this golden idea that everybody is going to keep being the same team they are week in and week out. Great teams are still going to be great. Sorry teams are still going to be sorry. Great example of not thinking. You better stop thinking like that. Cincinnati and New York. And it seems like every time Jeff has it seems like the Jets might need to have Jeff come in as a good luck charm, because I've been with Jeff on occasions where we've done shows. He called out the Jets as a big dog, just like what you call it, and they've went off and won the game. And it's like, wow, the Jets won the game. And it's like, yeah, it's because Jeff's in their corner. That's why they won the game. You know what I mean? Jeff is somebody that believed in you, and nobody else did. I know I didn't believe in you. So, it is what it is. But Mr. Dawson went 5-9 as well too. I'm getting that uploaded now. But it was good, man. It was all in all, it was a good learning week. Sometimes we got to learn on the job a little bit. And that's why I try to get people to understand that, sometimes this business, and Jeff is mentioned it several times. Even when I had the old Capcast show, Jeff used to call it Quicksand Sundays. And that's exactly what Sunday was for me and him. You know what I mean? But we weren't being silly, like, let me go ahead and put some more money on the night bet. Well, because we hit the night bet. So, we was all right in that category. So, it was nothing Sunday night football. It was more about, the total day in hand. But everybody had a bad day, I think, last Sunday, because certain games did not go the way that they were supposed to go. So you can't sit up here and lie and say, oh, I had another excellent Sunday. You didn't have the Jets. Keep it real. You know what I mean? You didn't have them. You lying through your teeth. You say if you just said you had the Jets. And a lot of y'all had the Browns over the Steelers as well too, because you have this idea that the Steelers aren't who they used to be. It don't matter what they was 10 years ago. This is still Tomlin and Roethlisberger. Just like Billy B and Brady were for their whole time. It's the same scenario. They're going to make it look like they're not doing good, but they doing good. You know what I mean? But real quick, let's go ahead. Mine was this 5-9. Bad, and more bad. And Jeff, 5-9, almost similar. And, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. But big props to the Saints for doing what they did, because they made us look like some real geniuses last Sunday. And the Patriots made Jeff look really good. And I got some great notes today. So let me get into it because I'm excited about today. So let's go ahead and get into our Thursday night football game. It's going to be the Colts and the Jets. And we just talked about it. I was just talking about the Jets. And we have ourselves a Jets team that's coming in here plus 425 today. The Colts are minus 550. This is their highest spread of the year for the Colts as well, 210.5. This could loom a danger somewhat, and this could be a trap, but I think it would be more of a trap for the Jets today because the Jets coming on 3 days rest. I know they got a new quarterback that they're getting real excited about, Mike White, but I would say this. What happened on Sunday was the Cincinnati was caught off guard because they was coasting on Sunday, Jeff, to be honest with you. And they were coasting really, really hard on Sunday. And it came and bit them in the butt because you should have knew it was going to be issues when they messed up in the red zone attempt. The first red zone attempt of the game was thwarted by the Jets. And the Jets came out and scored a touchdown like 2 minutes into the game. That should have gave everybody the idea, I done walked into a trap city. You know what I mean? And that's simply what it was. Nobody gave the Jets a true opportunity. I said, and you know what I said too, Jeff? I said, I think the Jets just played their best quarter of the season. No, they played their best game of the season because that was a thorough teamwork, and they came back from 10 points down. You know, once you put a team like the Jets 10 points down, it's lights out. But nah, not Sunday. And here goes my notes real quick, though. The Jets, though, this is why I said that this might be something that people might be overreacting to. The Jets are 0-4 on the road against the spread and straight up. But they are 1-0 against the AFC South with the win over the Titans. They are averaging 10.5 points per game in losses. But peep this, Jeff. They're averaging 30.5 points per game in wins. So that's a good stat if they get the scoring tonight, if you have the Jets. And they're 2-3 versus the AFC. And this is something that will also get people pretty excited. They're 1-0 straight up and against the spread as a double-digit dog because they've only been a double-digit dog once, and that was on Sunday. So, there's things to look into. There's things to look at, Jeff, when it comes down to this team. What are your thoughts?
You know, it's a tough spot for me. The Colts coming off a real tough loss that I think they honestly laid an egg. I thought that they would, beat the Titans and put them in a good spot and let the Titans roll in the second half and lose an OT. Had 2 shots with the ball. And the coach, I think, made a big mistake by allowing Wentz to win the game versus like a Jonathan Taylor type. Jets coming off a big win, and you brought up a good point, 3 days rest. Are they living off their laurels? In comes, Mike White, high off the horse and ready to rock and roll. I'm going to take the bait. We bought the hook, took the Jets now plus 11, hoping that they can keep it close. Now, the key to this game is going to be simple. Mike can't let the stage get too big for him, and they also have to, they got to get into that 17-point scoring range here, for us to feel comfortable, because I think that the Colts are going to score in that 27-28. You can't allow them to get to 30. So we're taking the Jets plus 11. Tough spot here. You should know early which offense and which defense of the Jets showed up.
Gotcha. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm going to take the Colts with the 10.5. Colts have won their last 3 out of 5 games after an 0-3 start. They're 1-3 straight up, but 2-2 against the spread at home. They've been the dog a few times at home, so that's why you get the against the spread the way that it works out and everything like that. And then you have the 2-3 versus the AFC as well. But this is the alarming stat to me, and I shouldn't count it with the way it works because it was opening day, but they have a losing record. They're 3-1 against teams below 500. And I say this because the one team that they are played that is below 500 and lost to is Seattle. But nobody expected Seattle to be below 500 at this point. So, it is what it is. But all in all, the last 4 weeks, the Colts have played very good football, much better than it was when they started the season. And I think that this game is something that is another just another compliment from the NFL, because look at this, Jeff. They just got done playing the Texans a few weeks ago, and I think they also had Miami on the schedule a few weeks back as well too. And these are 1-7 teams, so they actually had to get the schedule to get a little softer for them to start picking it up. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the Broncos and the Cowboys. And in my notes for this game right here, Jeff, I got the Broncos coming here, losers of their last 3 out of 4 after a 3-0 start, but they did get a good win the other night against the Washington football team. Also, we have a team that's 2-2 on the road, 1-1 versus the NFC East. We both know what happened with the Broncos. They're 2-0 versus the NFC East. Let me take that back. I'm so sorry about that, because I'm thinking that they already played the Cowboys and they didn't. So it is what it is with that. And because they haven't played the Eagles yet, so let me take it back. And then they're 0-4 versus teams above 500. So that's pretty much where the issues reside at for this team as well too. So literally, the team wins their first 3 games of the year against cakes, and nobody was impressed. When you're still the underdog and you're undefeated after the 3rd game, then nobody believes in you being a real undefeated team, because they already looked at your schedule. You know what I mean? And the Panthers and the Broncos both had luxury schedules. Everybody in the NFL would have loved to have those games, the first 3 games in the league. You know what I mean? Pretty much everybody. And the Cowboys, most dominant betting team in the NFL right now, 7-0 against the spread. Today 6-1, straight up. 3-0 at home. All games have been covered, and covered nicely. 1-0 versus the AFC West. Big win in LA versus the Chargers. And peep this, Jeff, they're averaging 32 points per game. And I didn't count how many plays they're running the game, but I know they're running at minimum 80 to 85 plays a game. And that's almost 30 more than the next team each game out. And also, first in time of possession. This Cowboys team is really, really good. But you know what's going to happen on Sunday, though, Jeff? They're going to wind up being too good, so good that they're going to forget that they got a pretty good opponent in front of them in the Broncos, and the Broncos are going to wind up covering this game. So that's why I'm going to take them with the +10 in this spot. So what are you thinking, Jeff?
Dallas with Cooper Rush, shocked the world on Sunday. Found a way to win the game and win it late. That high-octane offense has turned into a hell of a ground and pound as well with Elliott and Pollard. Now in come a Denver team. Just traded Von Miller. The numbers say 30-20, 31-21. Before we started the show, just saw that Dak's had 2 good practices. The number says Dak's playing, so I would expect Dak to play. Can Denver score 21, 23, 24? Going to be real tough. The Dallas D's been playing great. Diggs back there, you can probably count him for another pick as well. I got the hook here. We took Denver plus the 10.5, really hoping that they can slow Dallas down and also be able to get up to that 21-23 mark to get, to cash that ticket. So we're riding the Broncos plus the 10.5 Pops.
Yep, and I just think that the Broncos will be it's an oversell. You know what I mean, with the Cowboys. You know what I mean? You're going to oversell the Cowboys Sunday. You're going to have people trying to get their great teasers together, all that stuff together. And this will probably bump up from 10.5 to maybe 11.5, maybe to 12. It's not going down to single digits at all. You know what I mean? I think that the more action that goes on the Broncos makes them good, make it go up a little bit more. You know what I mean? And we all know that the Cowboys are going to be everybody's pick 'em play. So usually when everybody's pick and play, you got to make people sweat a little bit, so you can't make it easy on them. You know what I mean? So I like the Broncos in this spot, and I think the Broncos do well because they've done very well against the Cowboys in their last few meetings as well too. And I'm a traditional guy, and I think that sometimes certain teams when they play each other, it's still going to be the same game. You know what I mean? Even regardless of what the record is and all that good stuff. So we move forward and we talk about the Texans and the Dolphins. This is going to be the Dolphins find themselves once again in the battle of who may get the first pick in the draft. This was like 6 times last season, and then they wind up yielding it to Cincinnati late because they started winning games and Cincinnati kept losing games. So, well, actually, Jacksonville was the one that kept losing games. My bad. Cincinnati and Miami both started winning games and drafted 5th and 6th respectively because of it. So in this spot, you got the Texans coming into this bad boy, and the Texans are 3-4-1 against the spread this year. They're 4-4 with the over and under. They're 0-4 straight up, 1-3 against the spread on the road. All in all, they're only averaging 14.8 points per game, less than 15. I tell you this, and they're 1-3 straight up, 2-2 against the spread against the AFC as well too. Dolphins coming into this game, and I feel bad for Dolphins fans. 0-3 at home, Jeff. 1-2 have went under 2 out of the 3 of their games at home. They're 2-4 against the spread, 1-5 straight up versus the AFC. They're 0-2 against the spread and 1-1 as they're 0-2 against the spread and 1-1 straight up as a fade. None higher than 1.5, and we all know where they got that win from. The lucky one that was down the street from your house. So pretty much, the Dolphins should be 0-8 right now. And I would say I would love to say the Dolphins are a scrappy unit and they trying hard and all this other good stuff. No, they're just downright bad. And the thing is because their offense is moving like the 1990 Chicago Bears. You know what I mean? You don't have much. You got great receivers. You got a good running back. And you got a quarterback that's advertised to be a game changer. And none of that is coming to fruition. So, I know this is the get over game for Miami. Everybody's feeling good about it. But this just takes me back to a horse racing analogy. You can have $1 million horse, and that horse looks great at auction. All that good stuff. You break them, they look good. Their first few races, they win. They look really good doing it. And then when you put them against some real competition, you put some real expectations on them, they start faltering. They start being whatever. Then you're trying to fix things, and you can't fix it. And then what happens? You got to throw them in the claimant bin. And that's what I feel like. And when I compare it to the claimant bin, meaning that they're going to have to fire the whole team at the end of the year. And that sucks because you thought they were actually building something. But this team is actually closer to being like the Browns from 5 years ago than being like the team they thought they were being, kind of moving things ahead. Like they thought they was doing things the Patriot way, but they still doing things the Dolphin way. You get my drift? And that means not believing in your quarterback, not believing in your head coach, and wanting to go ahead and change the whole thing all over again to satisfy your needs. It's the same thing the Cleveland Browns did for 20 years. You don't want to become that team. You just don't. And there's 6 of them in the league right now that we both know that they're going to be turning around. They're going to be bringing in firing coaches for the next decade because they just don't have any structure. And that's why I got to rock with the Texans because the Texans have always been the quiet little dude in the NFL to me. Them and the Jaguars. We don't make too much noise. You know what I mean? We got players that get out of control sometimes, but we don't have a history of it. You know what I mean? We kind of just go about our business every Sunday. You know what I mean? And we knew we weren't going to be good this year because our quarterback didn't want to be with us this year. But what we're going to do is we're going to make the best of it with the guys that we do have. And what happens is that I heard a little birdie say that Tyrod Taylor could be available this week. And with Tyrod Taylor available in this matchup this week, it's a game changer. And I would even say the kid Mills might be able to step up just a bit because he just played against the best team in the NFL and was able to kind of hold his own. Even though they got down 38-0 very early, he still was able to go ahead and get himself some points. And the Rams are a much better, are a good team to go against and get your butt beat on to prepare you for a game like this with a team that's going to overlook you. So that's why this long-winded rant is going, because you know why, Jeff? You know why? It's the dog bet of the week. And guess who it's going to be? It's going to be the Texans. Money line, plus 250. Give it to me. I'm telling you, this is absolutely stupid that you would put a team like this in this position to be this high of a favorite, knowing that they're 1-7 and looked absolutely awful in their for the last month. So, and I'm still mad at the Dolphins because they blew the cover Sunday. How do you blow the cover the last 2 minutes and you're already losing by double digits? So, give me the Texans, man. I don't even care. I don't care how bad the Texans have been looking. This team has been a double-digit dog in every single game this season except for 2. So this is the second game that they haven't been a double-digit dog. So let's go ahead and make some money. Let's go, Texans.
When I gave out my pick last night to you, then the news starts trickling in, and then again this morning, now this afternoon. This number is dropping. I've even seen it on my Circa Millions card at 4.5. So I already bought into the Dolphins. Do I like it? No. I like everything that you said. It's 2 1-7 teams, and they're overpricing the Dolphins here. A Houston team that knows they're 1-7 and they know who they are, but the Dolphins at 1-7 aren't that team that everyone thought, and I'm one of them. I was buying into the Flores. I liked Tua, and now it's a game where, you know what? The winner of this game might be upset coming the end of the season because the other team holds the tiebreaker for that number 1 pick. So we grabbed Miami. I am scared poopless, especially if Tyrod Taylor plays. Maybe people are buying into that fact, and the fact that Houston made a nice run in the fourth quarter. I don't know. Miami played well the first half at Buffalo. They were right in it. And which team shows up? I tell you what, Houston gets out early. Miami might just pack it in. So I'm hoping Miami finds a way to get out early. Tua shows some life. The defense shows some life. And somehow, some way, Miami wins by a touchdown or more. But real tough game. I like everything that you said about the Texan side for sure.
So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but it should be a good day in the neighborhood. All right, so let's go ahead and check out our next game. NFC South rivalry game, and this is the first rivalry of the South as well, too. If you know your NFL history, these were the first 2 teams that were established in the southern states, and they've been going at it since day one. Pretty much, you know what I mean? The first game ever was against each other, and this rivalry is more special than a lot of people think it is. You know what I mean? It's special because it showed that the NFL was going to have some life to it. You know what I mean? That this wasn't going to be a league that wasn't going to be around in 50 years. No, we're going to be around and we're going to be stronger than ever when we get to that point. You know what I mean? And the Falcons and Saints were a good asset to that situation and bringing in the AFL as well too. So, I just want to go ahead and give everybody some history real quick about the Falcons and the Saints. It's just not some NFC South game that is just a game. These teams, you know how the Browns and Steelers are rivals and the Bears and Packers are rivals. The Saints and the Falcons are right in that room as well too of just rivals. You know what I mean? Hate it, can't stand each other, but they got a game to play, and right now the Saints are the better team. It is what it is. You had a 3-4 Falcons team. Saints are 6-2. Falcons 1-4 versus the NFC. 2-1 on the road though. 1-2 over. Have went under in 2 out of their 3 games on the road, but they're 0-2 in the division, and they're 1-2 as an underdog. Saints coming into this one 4-2 straight up, 3-3 against the spread versus the NFC. 3-3 over under versus the NFC as well too. So that means that they've went over and under in all their in 3 matchups apiece. You know what I mean? So it's even. And then you have the 2-1 over under at home as well. And then as a favorite, Jeff, they're 2-2 straight up, but 1-3 against the spread. So I know a lot of people will probably jump on the Falcons spread, but you know what? I'm going to take it a step even further. Saints ain't got no quarterback, dog. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Falcons plus 200. Yes, I know Matty Ice has really, 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 really struggled against this group, Jeff. I know he has. He didn't do well last year against them. But who did they have? They had Drew Brees, Taysom Hill, and Jameis Winston to gear that offense up. I am not going to trust the offense with Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian is a good backup to where he can come into the game and be a good relief pitcher like he was last Sunday. But honestly, I'm not going to – I know Sean Payton is going to test the theory that possibly this can happen with him, and he's going to give him the full opportunity to see if he can be the quarterback for pretty much the rest of the season. And I don't think it's going to work. So that's why I'm taking the Falcons here with the plus 200. Jeff, where are you going with this?
Well, I heard earlier today that they think Hill will be ready. Now, that doesn't mean, will it be Simeon to start and Hill to come in on the gadget plays, or will they start Hill? A game where the Saints, again, that every other week with Jameis, no Jameis now. Big win last week against the Bucs. They just stuck it right to them. I like the letdown spot. I like the Falcons here. I like where you're going. We just grabbed the points. We bought the hook. We're taking the Falcons plus the 6.5, where you said the Saints there, but we're grabbing the points. And I think it's going to be a close game. Can Matty Ice pull it off? Maybe. No Calvin Ridley again, dealing with some mental health issues. Kyle Pitts has been emerging. Russell Gage hopefully will be available. Cordarrelle Patterson, Mike Davis. I expect them to keep it close, and I think the plus points here, plus 6.5, should get you to the window post.
Well, there it is. All right, so we move on to our next. We move on, and you know what? We're gonna move on to a commercial because I know that was the 4th day. And let's go ahead and get us a little break. And we did go a little over. Sorry about that, but we'll make sure to speed that up for you guys when we get to our next games. But, we love talking, making sure that you're going in the right direction as well, too. Some of these guys are just yelling at you like, look, you got to take the Chiefs. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers is out. That ain't no good analogy, man. They coach. If you look at their coach is the most successful coach to ever start his NFL career. And he drafted a backup to be ready in case this happens. Come on, think what you think. It's not that hard. All right, we'll be back. This is the NFL Bet Exchange. Your host, Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and your other host, the Don of Cape God, Jeff Dawson, and we will be right back.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the NFL Bet Exchange, and let's go ahead and get into our next game, which is going to be, I can't remember which Super Bowl number it was, but they played in the Super Bowl, and that's going to be the Pats and the Panthers. And this was one of my favorite Super Bowls of all time. I don't think it gets enough love, Jeff, to be honest with you. This was one of the greatest games ever played in the NFL, and they do not talk about this game at all, really, ever. You know what I mean? But, you know, we're in a new NFL too. I would love to see more shows on the historic parts of the NFL and things of that nature and greatest games. I know they already have stuff like that, but they need more of it. You know what I mean? More highlight shows and stuff like that and fun stuff. You know what I mean? Instead of always having your emotions and all this other crap that's put into, you know, broadcast for the NFL. It's not that serious. It's just 11 guys lining up against each other for a common goal, and that's to win a damn game. All that other extra stuff that y'all be on is just extra. And as you guys know, we don't talk politics, but I would like to say this before we move forward. I would like to send my condolences out to the family of the person that was struck by that car, by Henry Ruggs and everything like that. And also want to go ahead, and I know this is not the most popular thing to do. I also want to send some prayers out to Henry Ruggs as well, too, who's probably is the most devastated person other than that family as well, too. I know, and I'm not going to call him a POS, any of that, because mistakes happen. And, you know, he's going to suffer for it. So, you know, you don't have to just keep the party going. His life is going to be shitty for the next for forever. So you don't have to keep reminding him of it. Okay, you know, get out of your elementary school, preschool mentality about things. Just, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And you just wish that type of things wouldn't happen, but they do. Jeff's just like, I'm not going to say nothing.
No, it's a tough situation because, you know, everyone wants to throw up the fact, you know, multi-millionaires, endorsements, a life in front of him that millions and millions of athletes and people would kill for. And the fact that, you know, everyone throws out, why didn't you take an Uber? Why didn't you take a Lyft? There's car services. And how the hell can you be going 156 miles an hour? What are you doing out at 3 a.m? And it's the lifestyle. It's everything, you know, added up to it. And it's a tragedy. And you are correct. He is now going to have to live with this every day of his life. And, you know, he killed someone. He almost killed his girlfriend as well. Devastated.
He killed himself.
Yep. And the Raiders took no time in the, you know, releasing him. And, you know, just hopefully, you know, during this time, you know, you get the help that you need and you just move on. But I'm not a guy that piles on. I'll just leave it at that.
Right. I just hope for the best. And as you said, and then you start hearing the stories come out and everything like that, especially I'm just going to end it with this. Especially this is what irritated me the most. The bartender said they served up 15 shots to him over there at Topgolf. You know that he's an NFL player. shouldn't you kind of make a call for him? You know what I mean? So you want to help pile on it, but you know what you just did? You just made my company liable for this situation as well too, because nobody knows this. If a bar doesn't cut you off and let you keep going the way that man kept going, you're going to be a part of the lawsuit as well too. So I hope you liked being able to. I hope you liked your 15 minutes of fame, bartender, because you're probably not going to have a job once this lawsuit comes into play. Well, you probably don't have a job right now, because if you're a corporate person, you heard them say that, or a corporate lawyer, then you're like, let's go ahead and get that person's termination papers ready. Because you just literally threw us right into this fiasco. You know what I mean? But I'm sorry, that's my business sense talking. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and talk about it later. I'm so sorry. Here goes the notes, because me and Jeff can go about this all day, but we don't work for ESPN. We work for ourselves, so we're not going to do that. And Jeff, it's funny because these are 2 Form 4 teams. And I got so many notes on the pad. That's why you gotta love Bill Belichick, because he makes you, because he always the obvious is always right in front of you when you're breaking down the Patriots. Other teams, it kind of takes a while to be like, what are they doing? But no, Patriots, you get a whole lot of information out. And the information I got is they're 0-3 straight up, 1-2 against the spread versus the NFC. Not good at all this year. 0-2 straight up, 1-1 against the spread versus the NFC South, because they're playing the NFC South this year. So, you know, they ran into a little bit of issues, and they got beat by the Saints and the Bucks and the Cowboys as well too. And 3-0 straight up, 2-1 against the spread on the road. That's something that was alarming to me, that they're still a damn good road team, the Patriots, even though the first 2 road games were games they were supposed to win. But you know, that Chargers game was huge, because it showed that Mac Jones and the crew are turning the corner on being, you know, guys who are new to Bill Belichick's system, not the guys who've been there for 55 years. You know what I mean? But if we have anybody like that, I think everybody's gone from the Brady era, including guys that were around 2 or 3 years ago as well too. Only because the McCourty brothers is gone. So, you know, I'm trying to think who's still here. Nobody. Really. Burkhead's running around Houston. Oh, James White's still there. But James White's always hurt anyway, so it don't really matter. But on to, as I said before, I already mentioned that, but 2-1 over and under on the road. And this is the difference in the Patriots. The Patriots don't score as much. They don't average as much points-wise at home like they do on the road. They're getting 25 points per game. That's good. And they're only giving up maybe about 15 to 16 points in that stretch as well too. So they're doing pretty well. And then you have the Panthers, 2-0 versus the AFC, 1-0 at home at this point, because they did get the cherry spot of getting 2 AFC teams early in the year that were bad. And then you have 2 at home for the Panthers as well too. But they've lost their last 4 out of 5 after a 3 start. And 1-3 over under at home as well too. So when I look at this game to me says Patriots win, but the Panthers cover. And I think the cover is more of a lock than the Patriots winning, even though nothing's a lock except for what's on your front and back door. But all in all, I'm going to take the 3.5 on the Panthers to cover. But I think the Patriots actually win the game.
You talked about the Patriots against the NFC. I mean, you really want to break it down a step further. They had opportunities to beat the Bucks, and they missed the field goal instead of going for it. They lose to Dallas in OT. They got obliterated by the Saints early in the year. This team has turned the corner. They an amazing second half against the Chargers. Now they come into a Panthers team. No Darnold, or is it Walker? Is CMC playing? A Panthers team like the Broncos. It started off on fire, now going in the exact opposite directions. You nailed it. The Panthers struggling to score. Patriots now looks like they're getting momentum. This is when Bill turns it on. Usually don't do this often, but we took the Pats money line here minus the 185. We expect them to build off of the Chargers win, to come off with a win, to get to 5-4 and get ready next week to face the Browns.
All right. So we got that in our fold. And pretty much we have ourselves in a position right now where you got the Pats who are moving and grooving right now. And that's why the Bills got to kind of stay back a little bit. Yeah, you great. You doing really great things, but remember who coaches the Patriots as well, too. You know, this was everybody loved to see the first year Tom's going to get all the love because, you know, they felt like Tom got freed. But the second year is when Belichick comes back around and says, you know, I was a part of that as well, too. And, you know, Bruce Arians ain't going to get 10 rings out of Tom Brady like I did. You know what I mean? Or 7, whatever, how many rings you got out of him. But let's go ahead and move forward, and let's go talk about our next game in hand. And this one, if we speak of the devil, the Bills coming in here as a monster favorite once again. And the Bills in a game like this, they've really been able to blow teams out like bad. And when I look at the stats and when I check my notes for this game, you got a Bills team that's 5-1 versus the AFC right now. They're 1-1 versus the they're 5-2 actually versus the AFC. I'm sorry, 5-2 versus the AFC. They're 1-1 versus the AFC South. They're 2-1 on the road as well too, and pretty much they're 4-2 as a favorite. So they got a lot of things working in their favor. They've been a very dominant team on the road as well too, except for the Titans game. So that's something that you can put into your notes on why the Bills can be a good play for you come Sunday. And then you have the Jaguars, who are 2-3 against the spread, 1-4 straight up versus the AFC, 1-3 at home this year, 2-4 against the spread, 1-5 as an underdog, 1-3 as an underdog at home. So they have that for them, but I don't need to be long here. I can be very quick. I'm taking the Bills plus 14.5. It's very simple for me. The Jaguars stink. It's that simple, man. And they hate their head coach. They really don't like Urban Meyer. And last week kind of showed me that they don't really like Urban. They could have been better last week, but they didn't want to be.
You know, the numbers say 31-17. That's what Vegas is telling you. Can the Jags score 20, 21, 23? Probably not. Can they hold Buffalo to 30, 28, 27? I don't know. James Robinson, a question mark. You know, again, Lawrence can't throw 2-3 picks. Can Carlos Hyde carry the toe? It's just on paper. And Vegas is setting you up good here. They got such a high number that for us, I mean, we're going to grab the 14.5. Do we like it? Hell no. And you'll know early again. You know, the Rams were up 38-0. Houston came rallying back. I agree with you. The Urban Meyer experiment is probably going to be a one-year wonder, hit wonder. He's probably running back to USC or college if he can, or maybe just stay out of coaching because I don't think he's engaged or interested anyway. So we grabbed the 14.5. Are we happy with it? No. But we're going to take the points. Home dog. Hopefully they keep it close. And, you know, how about 28-17 final? How's that sound?
All right. Well, you get to cover, and the Bills fans get to be excited about something. All right. So pretty much, let's go ahead and move on to our next game, and this is going to be the Vikings and the. All right, so pretty much. All right, so sorry, you got 75 things going on at once, but Jeff is on the Jags. Sorry about that. Make sure you guys know what team he's on. All right, so pretty much we got this going right here, and this is going to be the Ravens and the Vikings. The Vikings are a tricky team, though, for the Ravens this week. But still, I think that the Ravens have enough in the tank to make sure they do something big in this game. And the way I'm looking at it right now is like this. The way that I'm looking at it is with this. This is how it's going. We have ourselves a very intriguing situation here with this game because you have a Ravens team that literally is coming into this one, needed a break. They're coming off of a bad loss against the Bengals in the division as well, and so they kind of need a breather. And I think this one is a breather game for them in a sense. They're 3-0 straight up at home, 2-1 against the spread, 1-0 straight up 0-1 against the spread versus the NFC. And in games versus the NFC, the game did go under, and they're 2-4 against the spread, 4-2 straight up as the favorite. Vikings 0-2 versus the AFC, 1-1 when it comes to over-unders, 2-1 on the road, 0-1 versus the AFC, 2-1 against the spread, 1-2 straight up as an underdog. So when you look at this game, you have yourself a team that can cover in the Vikings, and then you have yourself in a team that can blow the cover in the Ravens. But I think that the MVP of the league needed to have himself a week off real quick, and he'll get back to business like he always does. And I think he's going to have a monster game against the Vikings. And I think the defense steps it up big time as well, too. I think Kirk Cousins is a little banged up coming into this game as well, too. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and take the Ravens with the -6. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this game?
Minnesota, big letdown last week for us. No Dak, national primetime. And we know how Cousins is on those primetime games. And now I think they travel to Baltimore with a chip on their shoulder. Yes, Baltimore got beat up pretty good against the Bengals, but Vegas isn't telling you this is an outright, box to wire by Lamar. Do I expect them to bounce back? Yeah. Do I think they're going to win? Maybe. I would not be shocked if Minnesota pulled this one off, but we were smart here. We grabbed, we bought the hook. We got the Vikings +6.5. I feel comfortable here in this game. I think you're looking at maybe a 27-21, 27-23, 24-23. I think the Vikings very comfortably cover that 6.5 pumps. Nice bounce back week, I think.
Yes, sir. I feel it. All right. So pretty much there we are with that. Jeff going with the Vikings. So you guys see that as well, too. Vikings +6.5. Now let's get into the Battle of Ohio. I know that Jeff was chomping at the bit for this one. Cincinnati, get your boosters together. Jeff is Jeff loves you guys. I think he's taking you guys every single week except for last week. And when he didn't take you last week, you didn't win. But we're back at it, and we have ourselves little brother versus big brother, or daddy's favorite against daddy's maybe. You know how it goes with the Browns and the Bengals. This should be nastier than the Steelers rivalry with the Browns. You know what I mean? Because this is a petty situation with this team. You know what I mean? It's a really, really petty situation. But it's all good, though. Browns coming into this game 2-3 versus the AFC, 0-1 in the division, 1-2 straight up, 2-1 against the spread on the road, 1-2 as an underdog, 1-1 on the road. And then the Bengals are 3-1 straight up, 2-2 against the spread versus the NFC, 2-0 in the division, and 2-1 at home. And they're 2-1 straight up and 1-2 against the spread as a favorite. So these teams are kind of even in a sense, and this game is big. You got a Bengals team 5-3, you got a Browns team 4-4. The Browns can work themselves right back into the divisional picture if they can go ahead and get themselves the win here. And they really do need the win because they're already down one game with the loss in the division. And this is where you really, really get to the playoffs, is winning your divisional games. And the Browns did a good job of winning those games last season, but they got to duplicate that this year as well too. So I know that the Bengals are the hotter team probably coming in, and the Browns have a lot of question marks. And with a week like the week that they're having with the OBJ situation and keeping him away, you feel like it's going to be a lot of distractions and da 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 da. But what I feel the total opposite. I feel like what's going to happen is that they're going to come into Sunday with full focus on beating the Bengals. But if they don't beat them, they keep the game close, and I'm taking the +3 here on the Browns. So that's where I'm going with this. What are your thoughts?
I think I'm perfect this year on the Bengals. When to play them, when not to play them. We were on the Jets last week. We took the Bengals money line, but I'm seeing a lot of movement. I'm seeing this line down to 2.5 right now. No OBJ. Yeah, it's a big distraction this week practicing, but the more desperate team is the 4-4 Browns. A loss and they go to 4-5, with the Bengals now being 6-3. So we took the Bengals minus the 150 in the money line. The total's at 47. You could see a 24-23 game, 24-21 game. I think this game's going to be a lot closer. I think Burrow and company need to get out early, not so that the Browns can just play keep away. Chubb's back, Hunt's still out, but Dearness Johnson has looked great. I look for a focused Browns team, and now the favorite Bengals and Burrow need to take care of business at home and, put the Browns out of their misery. So Browns minus 150 money line. I'm sorry, Bengals minus 150 money line.
All right. So there it is. My man. He got the Bengals with the minus 150. He's spending some change, a little bit of change. It'll be okay, though. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. And, that's just what it is at the end of the day. So we got our games. We got everybody situated the way that we do. And pretty much Bengals and the Browns, it's going to be a damn good game. That's all I can say. And with that, we're going to come back and we're going to go ahead and jump into some more football for you guys. We got a lot. We got 14 games this week. We got 6 more to go, okay? 6 more to go. All right? And another commercial. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. And we have ourselves up first. And you know what? We just got done talking about it, but, we're not going to bring it back up. But, man, this is going to be an emotional game for the Raiders going into this one. I think, this team has just went through so much in the last month. You lose your coach because he's an idiot. Then you lose your top receiver prospect that you had very high hopes for and was actually showed glimmers of being a bust out big time receiver. And those people are gone now, like gone. They're not coming back. I think that this team literally could win an Oscar right now for the trials and tribulations that they're going through. And I think by having a leader like Derek Carr, who's very spiritual, really helps everybody kind of calm down a bit. You know what I mean? And he's a kumbaya guy. Let's all get together, talk about it. I know he's probably taking all the guys out for dinner or something like that this week, to talk about things, because Derek is like the leader of this team, and he's and as I said before, very spiritual guy. Now the Raiders coming into this game, when you look at the notes, they're 1-1 versus the NFC. They're 2-1 on the road, 1-2 over under on the road, and then they're 2-2 as a favorite this year. And two of the games were against the NFC where they're 1-1. So the Raiders, pretty much 5-2 right now, playing with some house money, as we like to say too, Jeff. And sitting there pretty in first place right now, especially with that Chargers loss. Things are even better for the Raiders, moving forward. But then you got the Giants team 1-3 at home, 0-2 straight up, 1-1 against the spread versus the AFC, 0-3-1 with the over under at home, and the 0-2 over under versus the AFC. What I'm going to do here, Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and take the Raiders for the win here. I think the Raiders go ahead and keep the Giants lowly. But I know why a lot of people will probably use the Giants as their dog bet of the week, because of all the controversy going around the Raiders and the way that the Raiders play back east as well too. So those factors kind of work into play a little bit. And you do have to remember the Giants did beat down the Panthers a few weeks back as well too. And people acted like they didn't see that coming. But, they pretty much found a way to step it up in that game. The defense got rolling, and all Jones had to do was just get them 25 points. And this could possibly happen to the Raiders as well too. But I'm going to take my shot because I feel like the Raiders have more confidence knowing that they're in first place now as well too.
Tough game for us. Giants showed a glimpse here and there on Monday night. Short week, turn around, come back home. A Raiders team that, again, like you said, 2 weeks ago, lose the coach, and now all the turmoil on what happened a couple days ago. A game that we're just going to take a swing. Why? I don't know. I don't think Barkley's going to be back. A wide receiving core that's banged up, Shepard, Ingram, you name it. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to take the Giants plus 135. I think the number's low. They're trying to entice you to grab the Raiders. I think it's a big public bias on the Raiders. Here, we're just going to take the plus 135. Yes, it's value, but it's only value if you cash the ticket. We'll go 24-23 Giants.
And whoop, there it is. All right, so we move on and let's talk about the Chargers and the Eagles. And the Chargers and the Eagles, this should be a good game right here as well too. You got two teams that are very familiar, that they're not that familiar with each other, but they're both kind of in the same boat. You know what I mean? Chargers 4-3, Eagles is 3-4. You know what I mean? And where do we go from here? That's the question. You know what I mean? And the Eagles got a strong win last week. That was a thorough beatdown of the Lions, but you have to appreciate the Eagles because the Eagles take advantage of the bad teams. You know what I mean? They haven't been beat by a bad team all season. You know what I mean? They've got their butts handed to them by really, really, really good teams this year. And that goes to show you how scheduling works because it's something that's helping them out as well too. That's why they were able to be so successful last week. And I think that the Chargers are a very good team, but I think that they're about a year too early. There's a lot of things that need to be put into play with the Chargers moving forward, in my opinion. And I'm going through my notes right now, and the way that I see these notes is like this. You have the Chargers coming into this one 2-1 on the road, 0-3 over under on the road and 0-1 versus the NFC on the road, because I'm counting the Washington game from the first game of the season, and then you're 1-1 versus the NFC, and you're 0-2 over under versus the NFC. Then you have the Eagles coming into this one. I don't have the elaborate stats on the Eagles right now, but the Eagles are pretty good. Are coming off of a good win last week. And as I said before, they haven't played one bad team this season either. And I think that works out for them in a point to where it makes me want to really jump on them and and take them this week. And I really do like what I see with the Eagles this week. I'm going to go ahead and take the plus 105 money line with them. I think that it should work out pretty well for us. But I do know this: the Eagles do have a tendency to win a game, then drop multiple games afterwards, and that's why they're sitting here at 3-5 right now as well too.
Again, the Eagles have been that Jekyll and Hyde team all year. I do tell you this, that the Sharps generally play the Chargers on the road and bet against them at home. Again, the Pats manhandled them in the second half. Really had a good script on Herbert, and now they travel to Philly, a game where you're supposed to be on the Chargers. I think the numbers are, again, enticing you to be on the Chargers. For no rhyme or reason here, we're taking the Eagles plus the 1.5. Maybe they found something. Maybe they start putting it together. I think their team evolves not around Hurst, but the defense. So maybe the defense can put some pressure on Herbert, maybe get a pick six, maybe establish the running game, get Rager going. Devontae Smith, where you've been. Goddard should have a big week. We like the Eagles here. I could see this game like a 27-24 late field goal for the win, but we took the plus 1.5 Pops.
All right, and there it is. We all on some cheesesteaks. Cheesesteak Sunday, provolone, baby, mushrooms and bell peppers. You already know, some grilled onions. You already know, Jeff. Bring out those beer battered onion rings. All right, so we have the Packers at the Chiefs. The Packers plus 275 this week. Chiefs are minus 350 as usual. The favorite, the Chiefs, the favorite. They're the favorite. You know what I mean? So you got that working out for you. You got -7 as well too on the Chiefs, and then so over under 48.5. So when I look at my notes for this one right here, we have yourself a Packers team that's 2-0 straight up, 1-1 against the spread when it comes to the AFC. Then you have 0-2 versus 0-2. Both games have went under versus the AFC this year as well. And then you also have the 4-1 straight up, 3-2 against the spread on the road. The Packers have played 5 road games, the most of anybody in the NFL. And then they're 1-4 over and under on the road as well, too. So 4 out of 5 of their games went under. With the team that has a good enough offense to usually go over. But that's because they've had high over and unders in each of those games as well, too. And they've wound up being well under because the games are much more closer than they need to be. And then you have the Chiefs, who are 3-0 straight up, 2-1 against the spread versus the NFC. But let's remember who they played against as well, too, Jeff. They played against teams that they were supposed to beat. Giants, Eagles, and the Washington football team. So they had that working out for them in that regard. Now they're 1-2 over under 2 out of 3 of the games. First, the NFC did go under. They're 2-2 straight up and 0-4 against the spread at home. That's alarming, Jeff. When you're 0-4 at home against the spread and you're considered a Super Bowl favorite, if not the Super Bowl winner this year as well, too. That's a stat that just tells me leave me alone when it comes to talking about the Chiefs being good this year. I just don't think that it's going to happen, to be honest with you. And they're 2-2 over under at home. All in all, I know this is the week that you say, "Oh, I'll take the Chiefs." You know what? I'm with the Chiefs at this point right now. I've taken them the last 2 weeks. They didn't come anywhere near covering. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice here, Jeff, and I'm going to take Jordan Love's on debut to cover the game. Give me the Packers plus 7.
I'm just a glutton for punishment. I'll make this short and sweet. Not a Jordan Love fan, but listen, they got Aaron Jones, and KC has a real hard time stopping the run. Devontae Adams is back. He's cleared from COVID. Again, another team with distraction with Rodgers this week with the COVID and the vaccination and the blah, 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 blah. Why am I going back to the well? I have no idea why. I just, maybe it's going to click sooner than later. Vegas didn't move this line 2-3 points because, listen, the Chiefs opened up 1.5 point favorites. And by the time it got to the public, Packers were already 1 point favorite. So Vegas moved this line 8 points. And they said, oh, not so fast. We're not going to get bombarded by the Chiefs money. Here it is. You want the Packers? It's going to cost you +7. You want the Chiefs? It's going to cost you -7. We bought the hook. We're taking the Chiefs -6.5. We think that the Kansas City Chiefs can hold the Packers to 17 or less. And we're expecting Mahomes to get to around 30 this week, maybe even 31. So Chiefs -6.5.
All right, so we move on and let's go ahead and talk about the Cods and the 49ers meeting up in Santa Clara this week for their second matchup of the season. And you know that the Cardinals did win the first game 17-10 in Arizona. And, usually the Niners and Cardinals are good at splitting these games, just like they split last year as well too. And that was a game that the Cards actually were heavily favored in, and things kind of went to the left because Kyler got hurt in that game. Now Kyler right now was in the same boat he was going into the second game last year, banged up, beat up, having some foot issues, having some ankle issues, and will this affect him moving forward for the rest of the season? I think this game right here, Nick Bosa and the crew, they really are going to be out for almost blood with Kyler Murray this week, trying to get him out the game as early as possible. I think all in all that the Niners want to play spoiler here as well too. They want to kind of get their season back in gear. I know a lot of people said that San Francisco is probably done, but I don't know. San Francisco has the most talented team in the NFC West, and I think that honestly they ain't done yet. You know what I mean? I just think that the injury bug has not been good to them at all the last few seasons. You know what I mean? Since the Super Bowl run. So I think the Niners do well enough to pretty much get a very close, good win over a very, very solid team in the Cardinals, who at one point were the only undefeated team until last week. So you got to give the Cardinals their absolute props and their respect, knowing that they are an upper echelon NFL team at this moment. But my thoughts are like this: if Kyler Murray can't be 100% for you guys, then you're not in that group. And if he's not playing, you're really in trouble if he's not playing. Because the one thing that the Cardinals didn't do, acquiring all these great veterans, they didn't acquire themselves a sufficient backup quarterback still, in my opinion. So I'm taking the Niners with the 10.
We've been on the show now for an hour and 8 minutes, and this line has moved 2 points already. It's down to a pick 'em in the Vegas Strip. This line's leaking like Murray might not play. So Let me see. They lose J.J. Watt last week. They lose A.J. Green this week. Hopkins is questionable. Murray's gimping around. My gut tells me it's going to be Colt McCoy suiting up for Arizona. With that said, we're on the Niners. I think they get a good dose of reality. They get back into the win column. They get back to 4-4, where there is still some hope to grab a wild card. The division's probably out of sight, but I think they make a statement, and I think the Niners win comfortably this weekend, Pops.
You know what? We're in the same realm for this as well too. So I like it. You know what I mean? And it was funny. I saw Colt McCoy. I was like 4 feet away from him when I was at that game. And I just totally remember he was the backup. But I said, damn, Colt McCoy's still in the league. Da, 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 da. And I was like, well, he went right where he was supposed to be a backup. Be a backup. They really tried to sell him being the Browns starting quarterback too. That was real cute, but it happens. It happens, brother. It happens. But with that, we're going to take one more quick commercial break. When we get back, we're going to talk about both of the primetime games for this week as well, too, Sunday night and Monday Night Football. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. And we'll be right back to you.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we're back with our last 2 games, and and you know what? SoFi is becoming like the new just everything in LA, man. It's just such a beautiful stadium, man, and it seems like they're doing something there like every weekend, even if there's not a game. So, this weekend the owner of the house, the Rams, I like to say the owner of the house since the Chargers kind of slow on paying their bills and everything like that from what I'm hearing, because the Chargers, a lot of people have to understand this. They do not own that stadium together. The Chargers pay rent. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, eventually somebody from San Diego is going to get fed up seeing their team in Los Angeles and just come with the offer that Spanos can't refuse. They're going to have a brand new stadium in about the next 18 months in San Diego. And I would say this, it'll probably entice the Chargers to come back within the next 5 years. The Chargers are going to be just like how the Browns were not the Browns, but the Raiders when they moved to LA. Yeah, you come down here for 10, 12 years, but you're going to go back home. You're going back home. You know what I mean? So it's all good. But until we cross that bridge. But it's all about the Titans and the Rams right now. And with the Titans and the Rams, this is another Super Bowl matchup, Jeff, from 20 some odd years ago. And it was a good one too. Another one of the greatest games ever. But they do talk about this one because they always talk about the ABC games, Jeff. You know that. Every Super Bowl that's ever been on ABC will always get a lot of love because it's Disney. You know what I mean? And if the game wound up being close, it'll be like, what a magical ending. You know what I mean? All that BS. But Titans 0-1 versus the NFC, 1-0 over and under versus the NFC. 3-1 on the road, 4-0 over under on the road as well too, and they are 4-0 as an underdog. And guess how many points they're averaging a game as an underdog, Jeff?
No idea.
32 points per game. That's incredible. You're the underdog. You're the plus money. You are a bettor's best friend, Tennessee Titans. People who backed the Titans this year feeling good about themselves every opportunity they had when they were a dog, including last week. Silly them, huh? Making a team with a losing record the favorite over a team that's absolutely been dominating the last few weeks. It just never ceases to amaze me, brother. We have the Rams 2-0 straight up, 1-1 versus the AFC, 2-0 over under, and that's 1-1 against the spread, not straight up, okay? They're 2-0 straight up, 1-1 against the spread. They've went over in both of the games that they played against AFC teams. They're 3-1 straight up, 2-2 against the spread at home. They also have went over in 3 out of their 4 games at home as well too. And as the favorite this year, they've been a favorite. They've been the favorite 6 times this year, and in those 6 times, they've won 5 out of 6 of those games. Only loss coming to the Cardinals, and then they're 3-3 against the spread in that category as well too, Jeff. But I like the other trending stat here that just calls my name all day, and I know it's a surprise I didn't make them the dog bet of the week, but the reason why I didn't do that is because we both know the issue with Derrick Henry. But I do know one thing: the Rams can go to sleep at the will in this game, and Ryan Tannehill still has AJ Brown. So I think that what happens here is we wind up getting a Titans cover here, not a win, but a cover.
It's a tough game. Again, I was on the wrong side of the Titans last week. I like their weapons. Julio, who the hell knows, probably not playing again. AJ Brown is there. They're going to, lean on the Boise State kid McNichols. They signed Adrian Peterson. It's a game now that they got to put in the hands of the quarterback. And what will Tannehill do against a tough defense? Obviously, with Darnold, and Ramsey will be on AJ Brown. So it's a game we bought the hook. We took the Titans plus the 8. It's a 53 total, 54 actually in some spots at South Point right now. We're going to need the Titans to get you at least 24. If you can get to 24 or better, I think you got a good shot at a cover. So we took the Titans plus the 8 here, Pops, and hope that Tannehill wins the turnover battle versus Stafford.
All right, that's what I like to hear, man. And Jeff is taking the 8 here as well too, so he's in good shape. He'll be good. But we move on to Monday Night Football. This is a good old smash mouth game right here between the Bears and the Steelers. 2 teams that go under a lot. Jeff, both these teams have went under literally in all their games this season. So, that's going to be a popular play for bettors Monday night, but I would stay away from something like that because that's where you get into a little bit of trouble because you thinking it's a lock, it's a guarantee, and then it's going to be something that's going to go total opposite. They didn't even make the line. They didn't even make it a good over-under. You know what I mean? I think it's like 38, and it'll probably get down to about 37 or 36, you know what I mean? Because that's how heavy people are going to play this under. They feel like this will be like a 3-10 game or something of that nature. But when I look at the notes for this game, you have a Bears team that's 1-3 on the road. You have they've went under in 3 out of 4 of their games. They're also have won 2 out of 3 versus the AFC this year, though. That's a good stat on the Bears. And then they're 0-3 over and under versus the AFC, though, this year. As I said before, their games go under a lot. They're 1-5 as an underdog this year, though. That's straight up and against the spread. And then they're 2-4 over under as an underdog this year as well, too. So as an underdog, they've scored in games, but they still lose the game. So we'll see how that will work out for them Sunday with Fields kind of learning the offense a little bit better. And, that run was very exciting that he did as well, too. It kind of reminded me of that Michael Vick run against the Vikings years ago. So, that might be the beginning of a boost of confidence for that gentleman right there. And then you got the Steelers coming in here 0-1 versus the NFC, and then they're 0-1 over and under, and then they're 2-2 straight up and 1-3 against the spread at home. They're 1-2-1 over under at home, and then they're 2-2 straight up and 1-3 against the spread as the favorite. Jeff, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears with the plus 6.5 in this spot. I think that they'll be good to go. And I think that pretty much the Bears could win this game on Sunday as well, too. So, Monday night as well, too. So we'll see how it shakes out. What are your thoughts on this, Mr.
It's a game a couple of weeks ago that, Seattle was 5-point underdogs that found a way to cover. The Bears are a mess. We know that. Steelers, again, Nice win last week. Do they rest on their laurels? Again, Big Ben can't throw the ball. It will be Najee Harris left, Najee Harris right. A Bears team that, again, is looking for identity, a team that will most likely be looking for a new head coach, a new OC, and everything next year as well. The number, again, it's ugly. You said 40 on the under-over. The whole world will be on the under, and this game will probably end up being, a 28-27 barn burner or something for no reason. We bought the hook. We got the Bears plus the 7. We just hope, again, got to win the turnover battle, got to, ground and pound. Hopefully Herbert has a big day. Montgomery won't be back. Allen Robinson still missing in action. Maybe a Darryl Mooney sighting for a touchdown. But we took the points plus the 7, and we're going to hope and pray, Pops.
All right. So there it is. And me and Jeff kind of on the same page about a lot of these plays, but we're opposite on some of them as well, too. But all in all, it's about getting you the winners, and that's exactly what we're here to do. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for tuning in. I know Mr. Dawson would like to is very thankful for you guys tuning in as well too. Both of us got to run. We went a little bit over, and we started the show about an hour later. So I'll be starting up NFL. I'm sorry, the primetime angles in about the next 20 minutes. So you guys be ready for that. So I want to thank you guys once again very much. And with that, we bid adieu. And this is the NFL Bet Exchange Week 9, and we'll see you next Thursday. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bets are laid. This show was produced by the Prime Wave Media Group.
I wish you had a canister down there.